Good morning. This morning I'm feeling a little tired. I woke up a little later, felt my whole body was sore. Excuses. But I'm here. Good morning. When I got some scruff on my face, it's like a magnet if I blow my nose. Get all that TP. Anyway, good morning. So I had someone reach out to me the other day asking about my co-parenting and how it's going so well, and how long did it take to get there, which I think that was it's a great question. She just said, y'all's relationship seems so amazing, and we have our moments, let me tell you. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of people out there. I meet people, and even some of my close friends tell me about the relationship they have with their kid's parent, their kid's other parent. Still waking up. And unfortunately, I hear these nasty stories of how they're treated, and even though I have some of those nasty moments, the real journey, I guess, began for me in making these improvements with my relationship with my kid's mom. I went through the NLP training, which if you guys are ever interested in checking that out, I would say the best way to check it out is to go to Jaeger Training. That's one sec. It's Jaeger Training, Yager. If you look them up, Jaeger Training, and they'll offer like a 3-day NLP for business. Awesome, very specific, short and sweet. But that gives you a taste of some of the more in-depth training that you can get from them. So I did the 7-day advanced practitioner training, and man, that really opened me up. I didn't realize, when I went there thinking I was just there to sharpen my skills as a salesman, sharpen my language, be better at building rapport. And what in reality, it's like I had this veil on that this mask that I took off, and I saw myself completely. And I thought there was a couple things I needed to work on, but in reality it was like, wow. Hey buddy, you got yourself a lot to work on. It's kind of scary. But that was what felt like the beginning of this self-development journey. That was almost 2 years ago. This summer would be 2 years. Wow. So one of the things you learn is to be very intentional with your language, that words have meaning. Words have meaning. So say what you mean, And not only that, when you pay attention to what people are saying and how they're saying it, we tend to describe what we don't want versus what we do want. And there's this, this understanding that we're manifesting one or the other. So if time only exists now, and it's always now, how do we want to spend now? Do we want to spend it by thinking about all the things that we do want, or all the things that we don't want? Which one? So with that rationale, I started catching myself on how I was speaking to my kid's mom, because I only have control over me. I can't control her. And I realized that oftentimes in relationships, I'm waiting to be the better me when they do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I might be waiting for X, Y, and Z forever in order to do the part that I have control over. So I realize that's me being stubborn, egotistical, to think that, like, for me to change and for me to do something, I have to wait for them to do something. It's really silly when you look back and think of it like that. Excuse me. So again, I started paying attention to how I was speaking to her, and I would start texting her, and I'd realize I was using words of like dislike and don't want or no. And I started catching that, so I would delete it and I would reword it in a way that described what it was that I do want. And sometimes that's hard to think about, like what exactly, how do I say this? Like what do I want? It's very interesting when you put awareness to this. We don't always know what we want, which helped me to understand that it's not always knowing what you want. It's also being ready to have what you want now. Because if you ask somebody what they want, they'll tell you, but they're not willing to do what it takes to have it, so they're not always ready. So back to the text messages, I started deleting when I would catch that it would be a conversation around what I didn't like or didn't want, and then I would reword it in a manner that described what was the outcome that I wanted. And the funny thing is, it was like magic. It was like all of a sudden I was getting pleasant responses back. Well, if I'm talking about what I want, it's probably gonna sound much more pleasant than what I don't want. Kind of a crazy idea, right? So that was the beginning of making my relationship with my kid's mom better, and that was all within my control. I can only control me, so I was choosing my words wisely. I don't know why I'm being funny with the camera today. I guess when I'm a little extra tired, I feel a little delirious, and I'm in that like limbo. I just started drinking my coffee, so I'm like tired and have energy all of a sudden. Okay, well, we're up to 7 minutes, so I guess we could wrap this up. Realizing what we have control over, choosing my words wisely, talk about what I want versus what I don't want, and that includes with my daughter's mom. Now, here's another thing that I realized. We can all be nasty in our words. We all get in a mood and we get triggered easy, and we give ourselves whatever excuse to act like a jackass and talk shit, when we shouldn't. But we all do that. And I realized that when my daughter's mom would do that, no matter, when people are in that kind of mood, you're usually not going to talk sense to anybody. And likewise with me, if I'm in a mood and she's trying to talk sense to me, I don't want to hear anything. Right, wrong, doesn't matter. So I was just learning that, like no matter, nothing I'm gonna say is gonna matter in this moment. I cannot control anything other than removing myself from this conversation. And sometimes I want to fire back, because sometimes, it's like, it feels like personal attacks that are going back and forth. And the best thing I could do is just remove myself from that. Let her, get her to a better place where we could have a conversation. And likewise for her, she started realizing that things don't have to be addressed right now. For her, it's like, let's let Kale have some time to process all the things that I've said already, and, let him just, mull this over, and then we can talk about it. Because sometimes it's like we have to have this resolved right now, when I'm angry, and I'm having a conversation out of anger, and it's not going well. It's not going well, but I want it resolved now. So, that turns into taking some time to think about what it is that the other person's saying, what it is that I'm feeling, because sometimes my feelings might be sharp in the beginning, but I realize I'm, based on my mood in that moment, maybe I was just triggered by something, but in reality, a lot of times I get upset about things that are silly anyway. It doesn't matter. In the words of Bill Murray in the movie Meatballs, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. So, time exists right now. Let's talk about what we want. And be kind. One last thing. The movie Wonder, beautiful movie, full of life lessons. They talked about presuppositions, and one of them was, if you're faced between choosing kindness and being right, always choose kindness. Now, that's deep, because that made me realize that being right isn't always the right thing to do. You know, I might make a point to be right in front of a bunch of people to a specific person that makes them feel very uncomfortable or sad, embarrassed, because I chose to be right in front of a bunch of people kind of scenario. And it's not always right to do that, you know. I wasn't kind in order to be right. So that was a big lesson for me. I know I needed that. All right. That's enough. So you guys are tired of hearing me. Y'all have a great day. And is it Wednesday? Happy hump day.